The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, welcome to Catholic Chicago. I'm Father Greg Sakowitz, rector of Holy Name Cathedral here in Chicago. And seated to my left is dear friend Mark Teresi, who does so much at Cathedral, 150th anniversary, the 175th anniversary, and we've been friends now for over 50 years. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, and maybe people could go to our website, holynamecathedral.org, and see all the Lenten devotions and worship, and look for that Easter schedule and come be a part of our worship.
Oh, sure. We're in the midst of Lent, a time of conversion and change of heart and for the Lord's forgiveness for us. We have a great program lined up on faith and fitness in our studio live this morning. Michele Sotak, who is the Director of Service at Holy Name Cathedral, and to Michelle's left, Father Lou Cameli, who is a Cardinals Delegate for Formation and Mission. Michelle, Father Lou, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Father Lou and I have been together in the rectory for 10 years, but we go back 50 years.
50 years, yes.
Wow.
Hard to imagine.
Okay,
We both look so young.
Well, especially you.
Yeah, well, thank
Because
you.
the thing about it, I entered Mundelein Seminary in September of 1975,
Right.
and you were new on the faculty.
Just
at Mundelein.
arrived on the faculty.
And one of my greatest professors ever at Mundelein, Father Lou Cameli.
How was he as a student?
He was excellent.
Yep.
I still have his paper that he did for Mary and the Saints.
Mariology.
Yeah, Mariology.
Wow.
It was on Martin Luther's commentary on the Magnificat. It was an unusually good paper.
Wow.
And it's I can't believe that Lou still has it somewhere.
Yeah.
Michelle, I've known Michelle, well, we've been in the cathedral now for what, 12 years?
About 12, 13 years now,
12
yeah.
or 13.
Oh, my
and
goodness,
and
yeah.
full-time at the cathedral for 2 years?
A little over three
Oh, it's
now.
been a little over
Time
3
flies.
years. So, great,
Yeah.
great staff member, Michele Sotak. So, regarding the whole area of faith and fitness, ironically, in all my years of priesthood, we've talked about faith. People talk about fitness. No one ever came along and put the two together, faith and fitness. But Michele Sotak did. Michelle, how did that happen? How did that come about?
Well, Father Cameli and I have a deep interest and enthusiasm for both fitness and our Catholic faith our whole lives. And we noticed that when we got to know each other better these past, 13 years or so. And I approached Father Cameli about doing a program that I think would be beneficial for other people to learn a little bit more about, and how both of those dimensions make us better versions of self. We feel better about ourselves, and it's been very successful. So we're blessed and we're excited for the future.
Right. It really is a question of how we understand the human person. And not compartmentalized, like, okay, you have a body, you have a soul. No, I mean, you're one person, and there are these different dimensions, and they are related to each other, they affect each other, and we really need to pay attention to both of them. And not only, well, now I'm going to pray, now I'm going to exercise, but really to understand how this all works together. So it's really been very good, but it's a very Catholic way of looking at the human person. We're a sacramental church, and we rely on the incarnation. Jesus is God's Word who took flesh, and all this comes together, and it reverberates in our own lives as well.
Now, when you both were in the seminary, was this ever discussed or talked about in terms of either a curriculum or even just extracurriculars? Or this seems brand new.
Yeah, I don't think, we had gym class at Quigley.
Yeah.
And there were sports and so forth. And but the actual integration of these things, I don't know, there wasn't really any specific attempt to do that.
But now, Lou, when you were on the faculty, when I arrived in we both arrived in 75, seminarian
Yeah.
faculty, didn't you daily take a run around the lake?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the best running possible. So St. Mary of the Lake, as you know, has just around the lake. It's 2.5 miles. Spectacular.
Yes, I would
run
spend a lot of time in the gym, basketball, racquetball with the guys.
Oh, I did racquetball too, and swimming.
Yeah, and see, I wasn't a swimmer, but it was never talked about like in class. Now, guys, go exercise. It was something that either you did or you did on your own.
Right.
There was never a course in it, never a class in it. It was encouraged, but some guys every day working out, other guys never worked out.
Now, maybe Michele and Father Lou, what's a daily routine for you that keeps your mind focused on faith and fitness?
Well, I think that I try to keep it balanced as a seasoned exerciser and a seasoned Catholic. I try to make sure that I integrate different practices, whether it's fitness practices or spiritual practices, to be well-rounded and to not just focus on like one side of fitness or one side of the faith. And really, for me, the foundational things are very important. So that's proper sleep. That's part of everything. That's part of spirituality. It's part of our fitness and our mental dimensions, and even more. But when it comes time to excel in anything, I look at the foundational items because it's a system. And so sleep is important, hydration, and nutrition, of course. But then becoming educated and education and learning about exercise is important. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to think that even as a professional in this, industry, I'm still striving to learn more and more, and new research comes out. So I think it's just a matter of educating ourselves and keeping it balanced and integrating it into our lives so that we actually do the exercises and we do our spiritual practices, because it's a priority. It's a obligation for good stewardship to do these things, and so it's not something that's an afterthought. It's really on the to-do list.
I find that I think people in our society underestimate the value of sleep because they're working longer or just staying up watching videos or on their cell phone or computer late at night, but they underestimate the value, importance of sleep. And because I got work to do, whatever. Lou, on a program a couple of years ago, go ahead.
No, I was going to say in answer to Mark's question, and let me just give you a quick rundown of an ideal day for me.
Yeah.
And it's not only ideal, but it's pretty much most days. So I get up. That's the first thing.
Thank God.
Yeah, and I thank God too as I get up.
Yeah, get the good stuff,
But then the next thing is I'll have breakfast, go back to my room, and pray the office, the liturgy of the hours, and go over the readings for the day and so forth. And then we have a little exercise room at the rectory.
Do you know where that is?
I walk by it.
Yeah, he walks by. He offers words of support.
Lou, go get him.
Yeah, and I'll be on the elliptical for maybe 12 minutes or so, and then I'm going to do what they call functional weight training. Different kinds of things like a plank and a little bit with the weights and so forth. And then after that, if it's summertime, I'll go upstairs. I have access to the roof of the rectory, and I'll go out there and I'll pray a rosary. So that pacing back and forth. Now, actually, there's a funny thing about that. Because one day in the summer when I was up there after my exercise, I'm walking back and forth on the roof with my
Doing your rosary.
Yeah, the police were called. Someone saw me. they wanted a wellness check, so here I am praying my rosary.
They thought that Father Lou was pacing,
getting
ready
ready
to jump.
ready to jump. Yeah. So, but no, I wasn't. I was with Our Lady, and it was all fine. So in any case, that's that, and then maybe later in the day I might also. And by the way, that thing on the roof and the rosary, that's often a prelude to preparing for preaching and other things, writing that I do and so forth. And sometimes in the afternoon, if I have a chance, I might go over for a quick swim. So these things, it's interspersed, and it's also related. They're connected. Because the exercise can clear my head in order to pray, and the prayer can motivate me to take care of myself so that I can take care of other people.
So you feel like it's a privilege. It's not a, you don't
It's
do it
not
begrudgingly.
No,
Right.
no, not at all.
In
I
fact,
mean,
Lou,
that's
you
a
have
very
a
important
comment
point.
from a couple years ago on the program, and make it to our listeners again, that regarding prayer and exercise every day or else.
or I'll go crazy. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's I have a pretty intense life, you know, with the work and people, taking care of people and so forth. So you need to get it in balance, And how do you do that except through keep recentering, both physically and spiritually?
Now, along the same line, Michele, with what Father Lou just said, in your own personal life, if you somehow get so busy and don't exercise or don't pray the way you would normally would, what does that do to you?
Yeah, it throws me off, just like Father Cameli mentioned. His famous line is, if I don't pray every day or exercise every day, I'll go crazy. I think for me, it definitely throws me off. You know, both of those things anchor me and calm me down, my central nervous system. And it helps me with everyday, you know, the everyday life. And yeah, it's like Father Cameli said, you know, we have a lot going on throughout the day. And it's my way of having enough energy to get through the day. And it's my encouragement. And, you know, just to, Mark, you had asked specifically, Father Cameli answered it really well, daily life, how do I integrate? Like, on a typical day for me, I would wake up and then say my prayers. That's most important to me, even above fitness. And then thanking God, you know, for this day, and that, you know, I'm healthy. And because to me, the most important thing in my life is my health and my safety and my faith. And so, and those are really boring things. Some people are like most grateful for like the vacation they went on or whatever it is, but that's what I value the most as I get older. And so I will pray for all those things, you know, and then just thanking the Lord, a lot of Thanksgiving, just of course requests that I have. And, you know, so then what I'll do is I usually try to work out during in the morning. That's typically when I like to work out, because it does give me a lot of energy, and it makes me, Father Cameli mentioned is, and it prepares you. And you already feel triumphant if you've given yourself time to exercise earlier in the day, and things tend to go more smoothly that day. But even if I don't do that earlier in the day, because sometimes I'm commuting to the cathedral, well, I'll say a rosary and pray some more in the car. And then somewhere throughout the day, I'll exercise, and I make sure I get that in. At least 2 times a week strength training is what the CDC recommends. I do about 4 to 5 days of strength training and mix in the cardiovascular. And within strength training, you can focus on not just strength and weights, but also mobility and range of motion. So there's different ways we can really, split our workouts and to keep it balanced. Because, it's important to have balanced exercises. It's not just about getting stronger, but it's also about staying stable as we get older, so that we, there's less injury and things like that, less likely to fall or whatnot. But, and what's really important that people forget is recovery. Recovery is not being lazy. Recovery is something that if you're exercising, you definitely need to, in order to get results and not plateau, you do need to recover. And that includes active and passive recovery. Passive is when you're just resting and not doing anything. Active recovery can be stretching, foam rolling, light cardio, and much more. But that's important that that's integrated into your workouts. It's not the mindset that I really have to do 7 days a week. Just like on the Sabbath day, that's our feast day, it's our day of rest. We can also have a day of rest with our exercise regimen as well.
Good. We're going to take a little break, and on the other side of our break, we're going to see a little bit of a segment of Faith and Fitness, how you folks work together. And then when we come back from that, I'd like to talk a little bit about our 175th. We discovered the Sacred Heart was a pivotal part of worship for our community 175 years ago. And I'd like you folks to talk about how that fits in to faith and fitness.
Good.
We'll be
Sounds
back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned. Catholic Chicago, Father Greg Sackwitz, Mark Tracy, Father Luke Cameli, Michele Sotak.
Hello and welcome to our first episode of Faith and Fitness. I'm Michele Sotak, a ministry professional. I do ministry work at Holy Name Cathedral and also a certified fitness trainer and a master trainer for the Global Leader in Exercise Equipment.
And I'm Father Luke Cameli, priest of the Archdiocese of Chicago and Cardinal Supich's delegate for formation and mission. I'm a resident at Holy Name Cathedral.
And together, Father Cameli and I developed and implemented a faith and fitness program at Holy Name Cathedral. We both share the same interests and passions for our Catholic faith and for physical exercise. And we wanted to share it with you. There's many ways in which the two worlds are connected.
At first, it may seem strange that we bring together faith and fitness, but this is really very, very important. There's a way in which we can understand ourselves as both spiritual and material beings, body and soul. You know, in the course of Christian history, sometimes people have seen these in opposition, that there's a spiritual side of life and then there's a material side of life. But what has we have come to understand and tried to embody in faith and fitness is that these are not realities alongside each other, but rather integrally related to each other. The great German theologian Karl Rahner said that we are spirit in the world, and that sense of integrity and wholeness is very, very important, both for our physical well-being, but also for our journey into God.
Thank you for that reflection, Father Cameli. I believe you have a scripture passage that supports the body.
I do. There are a couple of passages that I find very helpful. First of all, here's a verse from Psalm 139. It was you who formed my inmost being, knit me together in my mother's womb. I thank you, who wonderfully made me. How wonderful are your works, which my soul knows well. And then there's another passage from St. Paul, from his first letter to the Corinthians. Do you not know that you are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in you? And God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. These are powerful words.
We're back.
Give us a sense
Catholic
of who we
Chicago,
are.
Father Greg Sackwitz, Mark Tracy here with Father Luke Cameli, Michele Sotak, a Director of Service over at Holy Name Cathedral, and innovators and creators of the program Faith and Fitness. Now, the first thing about that little snippet was you folks are ageless, because that was a couple years ago.
Years ago.
And you guys look better today. So faith and fitness pays off. And, any reaction to what you saw in terms of the clip?
Well, we've come far. I mean, the program has gotten more and more successful with time, and it was successful from the start. So it's just great to see that and how it's expanded.
The feedback from people has been really
Yes.
terrific.
Yes.
Yeah, well, one of the ways in which we know that it's been helpful to people, and that's the most important thing, is that they come.
Yeah.
We
They
have
come
good
back.
attendance,
Yeah, they do.
and really it's a nice cross-cut of people, older, younger, men,
You
women.
really hit a chord
Yeah.
holding of faith and fitness. You know, what also amazed me was this was done about 2 years ago, and how fast that time went by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much has happened in the last 2 years. And now moving over to Pope Leo.
But how can people, you have a few videos people can access. If you're in a parish and you want the parish to be looking at something like this, how will they find them?
You can find our videos on the Holy Name Cathedral YouTube page. And, everyone's invited to our live sessions here at Holy Name Cathedral. Father Cameli and I, we, in the club room across the courtyard of the cathedral, we do our live sessions in which people attend, and it's great. We have small group discussions, and we talk about scripture passages that support exercise, and
Now, it's down the road a little bit, but your next one
Yeah.
is in May.
In May, probably, yeah.
So look
Yeah.
look for on our website on holynamecathedral.org for that. And then let's go back. So 175th, our historian at our committee found out the two groups that were started for our faith community when our parish was founded, St. Vincent de Paul and Sacred Heart. And we are fortunate enough, Father Tony Brankin created a beautiful Sacred Heart
Yeah.
statue that's now in the parish that heightens that devotion. That year, Pope Francis also issued, would it be an encyclical? No, it'd just be on the Sacred Heart,
Yeah,
a reflection.
Delexi notes, yeah.
So how does that fit in? Your heart is central.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was sick years ago, they pumped the medicine into the heart because it goes all over your body. How does the heart fit into how you see faith and fitness?
You said it. It's the center of all the dimensions. Our heart is the physical organ that is really important that we physically take care of our hearts through exercise, specifically cardiovascular, but all sorts of exercises strengthens our hearts. And obviously, it's the center of our spirituality. And it's, our heart has a lot to do with the character of, our character and our principles in life. And then obviously, too, mentally, our heart is where our emotions lie, which is very important that we, through fitness and faith, can regulate those emotions.
And how about the devotion to the Sacred Heart? How to tie,
Yeah.
Father Lou, tie that in?
Well, yeah, devotion to the Sacred Heart is very important. And it really is a way of understanding how Jesus connects with us through his humanity. There's nothing more human than the heart. And his heart is the vehicle of divine love. So that in the heart of Jesus, we come to know the love of God. In the human heart of Jesus, we come to know the divine love. And I mean, that's just a very powerful dimension of our faith. And it's rooted actually very deeply in the scriptures. In the Old Testament, there's a way in which God is characterized as having a sense of compassion for humanity, that a feeling for us, not just the way he thinks about us, but how he feels for us, and that goes into the New Testament as well. And the heart is, as Michele said, it's a seat of, it's physically the center of our bodies, and obviously, but it's also the seat of emotions, and it's also our capacity to connect.
Yeah.
Our capacity to connect. So God connects to us through the heart of Jesus. We connect to God through that same Sacred Heart.
Now, for a minute, maybe Lou, now connect the Sacred Heart to the whole season of Lent.
Yeah, good question.
Here we are in the middle of Lent. I always say that Lent provides a speed bump
Yep.
in our lives to slow us down, put our lives in perspective, and to reflect on areas in our life that need change to grow in the Lord.
Yeah.
So you go from Sacred Heart, and now just for your own thought, connecting the whole sense of, for you, the season of Lent.
Yeah. So Lent and the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I think that the starting point actually has to be at the end of Lent, which is the Easter Vigil, and it's the renewal of both our faith and baptism, and that's the key, because we go to that renewal of baptism at the Easter Vigil. And by the way, I mean, it's at Holy Name Cathedral. We've got 42 people.
Exactly, of which I think 20 will be
Wow.
baptized.
20
That's
baptized.
Amen.
This is extraordinary,
amazing.
just extraordinary.
Amazing year.
But the thing about that is, I always go back to chapter 6 of Paul's letter to the Romans, and he wrote to them, he said, "Are you not aware that when you were baptized, you went down with him into the water," literally, so that you could die with him and rise with him. So from our faith and baptism, our attachment to him and our surrender to him and our sacramental union with him, that's where it all starts. That's where it continues to be. And Lent, across those 40 days, is a way of renewing both the faith and baptism and attachment to Jesus. So I'm thinking, especially this year, this is in the cycle of readings readings. You have the story of the Samaritan woman, the man born blind, and Lazarus, and these Sundays in Lent, which are just wonderful ways to begin to renew that baptismal experience that joins us to Jesus. So I think, there's a lot more to be said, but let me just hold at that point.
And Michelle, what about in terms of Lent? So people out there are watching and thinking, oh, I gave up meat and now, oh, darn it, I had a hamburger.
For Lent, I gave up Mark.
Pardon me?
I gave you up.
It worked. What can you say to folks who are looking at the sacrifice in Lent and how to deal with, we're human. Sometimes you fail,
right.
sometimes you don't.
Yeah. The worst thing you could do is give up. I talk about this during Lent and for New Year's resolutions. There's always the element of hope. Yeah. And if you don't have hope, then you're in trouble. So the hope that you can do better. Even if you screwed up, do not quit. And also, Father Cameli and I were having this discussion yesterday, is that Lent is a good time to give up something altogether. That's great. But I think that what I'm trying to do as I get older is that I want to continue something past Lent, right? So I want to continue a good habit so that around Good Friday, I've instilled that good habit and beyond. What I mean, for example, is so the sweets, that's obviously a very popular thing to give up during Lent. So I limit the amount of sweets during Lent versus like completely eliminating it. And that way after Lent, I could just have sweets here and there. And so, yeah, it's not all or nothing. Don't get discouraged. That's the worst thing that you could do if you screw up, because the only way you can completely, fail is if you give up hope. So always have hope.
That's a great statement.
Along those lines, Michelle, this is a great line I learned a long time ago. The greatest success in life is not in never falling down. The greatest success is to get up every time you fall,
Absolutely.
Which means to start over. So which means you feel, oh, I had a piece of candy, I was going to give it up for Lent, or I did this or I didn't do that. But you don't give up the hope. You start again.
Yeah, and also
start again.
Discipline's a good word, but I like to tell people that if that's a heavy word for you, try using the word devotion. You're devoted to something,
good.
and that's a positive way versus like a negative way to look at something, and that it's grudgingly doing something. We're not grudgingly giving something up. We're devoted to this thing that's going to make us better as people.
I like that word.
And I thought of an invitation to invite you both back. One of the things we don't talk about, and we'll have time hopefully for another show, is the Easter season.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
From Easter to Pentecost, we kind of ignore that almost as a church. And that would be a great faith and fitness journey.
To go from the Lenten journey to the Easter season journey.
Yeah.
It would. Actually, that's a really great idea, Mark. Because that whole season is, traditionally in the history of the church, that's mystagogy. Mystagogy is looking at the Easter mysteries after they've been celebrated, and then slowly and more deeply appropriating what they mean and how they can be lived out. And especially Easter and faith and fitness, because we're talking about the glorified body of Jesus, which is actually in anticipation of our own glorification. At the resurrection of the dead, we don't just come out as disembodied spirits. We are in the flesh again. So there's so much there. I'm just, I'd encourage
It would be a great idea. And at the same time, now as we close, maybe one more time, how can people, Michelle, see the videos, the Faith and Fitness?
The Holy Name Cathedral YouTube is where you can access all of our faith and fitness photos, or videos, I should say, yes.
I want to thank you in a very special way, Michele Sotak, Father Lou Cameli. You've been on before, you'll be on again, hopefully during the Easter season. And great having you. And in fact, it's interesting, when you talk about faith and fitness, both of you, there's an energy there. I mean, of course, we are people of faith, men and women of faith, but also that area of fitness, it just fires you up to talk about it. 'Cause I love when you say, Lou, I have to pray, have to exercise every day. It's life-giving for you, and for Michele
It's
too.
oxygen, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
exactly-
embedded.
it's
It's
embedded.
just embedded in
Absolutely.
my
And both
life.
of your
Yeah.
personalities are inviting. You're inviting people
Yeah.
Yeah.
to consider this journey.
So thank you very much, Michele, Father Lou. Thanks to co-host
It was
Mark Teresi.
great.
Great program. And special thanks also to our producer, director, Michael May. To all our listeners, continued blessings during this Lenten journey. God bless and have a great week.